The meeting will begin in 3, 2, 1.
I now call the meeting of the Code Enforcement Board to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the Hillsborough County Code Enforcement Board hearing. When addressing the board, please state your name, address, and speak clearly into the microphone. If you are planning to speak during the hearing, you must have signed the speakers list located at the front. Presentations by the county respondent or respondents and opposition must be kept to a maximum of 10 minutes each. The board may recess at 12:30 and reconvene at 1:30 p.m. to conclude business if needed. Basic procedures for the hearing is followed. Your case will be announced. Ms. Meyer will conduct the oath of witness. Staff will present their evidence in their case. You will be allowed to rebut the evidence and explain what occurred. I will close the hearing. The board will deliberate, make a motion, vote, and then I will announce the decision. All decisions based on the gravity of the violation, action taken by the violator, and the violator's history. The board may ask questions and allow other witnesses testimony if necessary. If the board issues an order for compliance, it's your responsibility to notify code enforcement. The code enforcement officer on or before the date ordered to demonstrate that the violation or violations have been corrected. Depending on the order, code enforcement staff may later have to conduct an inspection to see if you have complied. If staff believes you have not complied, you'll receive a notice in the mail. By law, you have 10 days to contest this notice. Otherwise, it will be considered correct and a lien may be placed against your property. If you have any questions, these rules are outlined in Hillsborough County Code or Ordinances and Laws, Chapter 14, Article 2, Section 14. Any person who decides to appeal the decision of the Code Enforcement Board will need a record of the proceedings. The record will comprise of testimony and evidence upon which an appeal is based. It is your responsibility to ensure a verbatim record of the proceeding is made. By law, you have 30 days from the date of the order to appeal the board's decision to circuit court. Before we begin, turn off any electronic devices. Roll call, please.
Good morning. Bordenaro?
Here.
Boland? Boyd? Clayton? Durazio?
Here.
Lorenzen?
Present.
Urbaniak? Priscilla?
Here.
Wright?
Here.
All right, thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, we're going to need motions for approval of minutes of July 30th, 2021 and September 9th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
So moved. I'll second by right.
Mr. Bordenaro, before we complete
Yes.
that motion, it appears the minutes are for your magistrate hearings. So I believe the only one to approve them is you
Sure. Okay.
for both July and September.
The minutes of July and September are approved. You happy?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, we're ready for the cases.
All county staff who will testify must take the oath of witness. Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. First case is on page 1, number 2, case number CE 20004795. The owner is Tommy B. Walters. The location is 9818 New York Street. We have service. And the tenant is present in the room today. Raise your right hand, sir. And you need to speak into the microphone when you speak. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And state your name and address.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I do. Alfred Costanzo, 9818 New York Street, GIBSONTON, Florida, 33534.
Okay, do you recognize the property that's in the photo?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Is he the owner?
Good morning, Officer Guy Carter, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement.
Can I ask?
Property in question is located 9818 New York Street, GIBSONTON, Florida. Property is tenant occupied. Property was first inspected on April 7th, 2020 and cited for inoperable vehicles, commercial vehicles, and recreational vehicles. The inoperable vehicle violation was complied on May 14th, 2021. As of my last inspection conducted November 3rd, 2021, the commercial vehicle, trailer, and outside open storage still remained. This is a continuance. What was in question was whether the property was covered under the GIBSONTON Carnival exemption. And as you can see here in the overlay, it does not.
Okay, the other gentleman here, is he the tenant? Is he the owner?
Yes, the tenant is present.
Sir, you're the tenant of the property?
Yes, I am.
Do you have permission from the owner to speak for him?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, in response to the trailer, I'm taking that apart and getting rid of it. I'm a little further than that. With regards to the, we're talking about the carnival exemptions. Section D, I'm gonna read that. Permitted uses and development standards for property zone RSB, not overlay. Permitted use of property zones RSB without an underlaying zoning district shall be limited to a detached single-family dwelling, conventional or manufactured group living facility, and the repair, construction, and open storage of show business sets, equipment, and vehicles. In addition to the above special standards, such property shall be subject to the following development requirements: minimum lot area 7,000 square feet, utilities permitting, minimum lot width 70 feet, minimum front yard 25 feet, minimum side yard 10 feet, minimum rear yard 25 feet, maximum lot coverage 40%, maximum building height 30 feet, and an additional setback of 2 feet required for every foot building height above 20 feet. That's permissible without an overlay. Is Section D. It still covers that property even though there's no overlay. I'm getting rid of the trailer anyhow. It's pretty much totally disassembled right now, except for the rear axle. I'm asking to keep the two connexes. Also, when we discussed open storage is referred to on in regards to use as a business. These I'm using as sheds. Open storage, I'm saying, doesn't apply as residential. It's not the whole property. It's in a back line where it meets requirement. They're strong enough for what I need them for, especially with the weather down here, and the cost would be prohibited for me to replace them. But I'm quoting Section D of that. 3.01.02. Section D gives provisions with no overlay, and it is GIBSONTON, Florida, and it is is the Showman's area. And the trailer that I'm disassembling now, it was an old carnival trailer for right hoppers. So it falls under, while it's being disassembled, under Showman's. Ironic, the purpose of using the property is to work on carnival rides and such. But Section D is the section that I'm calling for on that. As far as the overlays, it provides without overlay.
Okay, the officer showed us a map. And in that map, it did not show this property with the carnival exception. Do you have something different?
I'm reading Section D of the thing that discusses the overlays, and that section specifically is for not overlay. And it's if you look at the property, it's directly across the street from zoning of overlay of theirs.
Okay, and for the officer, are these Connex boxes even legal without a permit?
To my understanding, sir, that they're not permissible in that zoning without getting a variance.
Officer, I got a question. I see the Connex boxes, but I don't see anything addressed as far as a commercial vehicle. Can you show me a picture of that? I don't know what you're specifically talking about because you didn't even mention
Yes, sir.
commercial vehicle in the first part. You just mentioned inoperable vehicles.
Right, the inoperable vehicles were already complied. The commercial vehicle is the picture shown here, and as the gentleman just stated, he's, I guess, tearing it apart piece by piece, but that's what was the commercial vehicle, was trailer.
I have a question for Mr. Pisano. Can you clarify in regards to the section of the code that this gentleman is referencing and how it does or does not apply to the outside open storage for his RSB zoning across from and not in the overlay?
Okay, as always, it's difficult to hear you, but you're asking me a question I was going to comment on. He is reading a different zoning. His zoning is RSC 9. Whether you're across the street, down the block, or you live on top of it, it is not part of the GIBSONTON RSB zoning that he's claiming. He can seek with the county an approval to have the Connex containers, but otherwise they're in violation.
Thank you. I'm prepared to make a motion, Mr. Chairman. I move in case CE 2000479 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, I grant 45 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $175 per day be assessed.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Durazio.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sir, you have 45 days to either get your variance or remove them. Next case, please.
I heard 45 days. Is that correct?
You have 45 days to either get your variance or remove them.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next case.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Turn to page 6, number 12, case number CE 21009015. The owner is Bullfrog MHC LLC, 8750 Sims Road, Lot 112. We have service and someone is here for this case. Good morning. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
And state your name and address.
Mary Drummond, 8750 Sims Road, Gibsonton, Florida, 33524.
And you are the property manager?
Property manager, yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Do you recognize the property in the photo?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hey, officer.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Code Enforcement Officer Leon Saddle with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. Property in question is located at 8750 Sims Road, Lot 112, and is owned by Bullfrog MHC LLC. Property is not in foreclosure. The property was first inspected on June 29th of this year, and it was cited for 11 violations. As of my last inspection on November 9th of this year, the mobile home was vacant and all 11 violations still remain. I spoke with Mary, and at this time, they don't plan on repairing these violations because they're planning on demolishing the mobile home.
Okay. Next, what would you like to tell us?
Yeah.
The representative here?
Oh, yes. Okay, so yes, we had two bids. They're both well over 20,000. So I have the documentation where we've submitted it to corporate for approval to demolish the home and just put in a brand new one. We purchased this property. I mean, these were existing issues when we purchased the property. The previous tenants, we have no intention of reoccupying the home. We're just waiting on approval from corporate to demolish it.
So what you're saying is there is nobody living in the house?
That is correct, and there will not be.
There will not be, and how long do you think it'll take to have it demolished?
The last communication from corporate was sent back on November 11th for approval. Once we get approval, it's usually 30, 45 days until the demo company comes in.
Okay. Questions, board members? Somebody like to make a motion?
I can't
ahead.
understand what he's saying.
I move in a case of CE 21009015 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property in violation of Hillsborough County Code and Ordinance as listed in staff presentation. Further, based on the gravity of violation, the action taken by the violator's history, I grant 60 days to come in compliance. Compliance not achieved by that time, a fine of $200 per day be assessed. In addition to the order that the property not to be occupied until it's demoed.
Second, Lorenzen.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Ma'am, you have 60 days.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Next case.
Number 13, case number CE 21009023. The owner is Edward Cass Life Estate, George Casp, and Zidlaw Kaprisky, location 10421 Richardson Street. We have service, and someone is here for this case. Good morning, sir. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And state your name and address.
Edward Cass, 10421 Richardson Street, GIBSONTON, Florida.
Okay. Do you recognize the property in that photo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Go ahead, officer.
Good morning again. I'm Code Enforcement Officer Leon Saller with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. Property in question is located at 10421 Richardson Street, and it is owned by Edward Cass, George Casp, and I can't pronounce the other gentleman's name, but the property is not in foreclosure. Property was first inspected on June 29th of this year, and it was cited for 4 violations. As of my last inspection on November 10th of this year, only 1 violation remained, and that was the standards for group living. And
Can you explain that a little better?
Okay, the standards of group living, property is in a show business overlay, and they have RVs on this property. And by the fact that I'm being in a show business overlay, the RVs have to meet a certain setback. They have to be 10 feet apart and 30 feet back from the property boundary.
Okay. All right.
Question, did he say, did the officer, it's hard hearing in here, did you say the other three items are in compliance?
You say? I'm sorry, I didn't hear, I didn't understand you.
I guess maybe we need a date for the compliance, huh? And say it here, but
Okay. Who's ever representing the estate, what would you like to say?
You're representing the entire property owners, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I just don't understand. My trailer been sitting here for 3 years and they tell me it got to be moved after 3 years. And the other ones are going. I'm getting rid of them.
Is he gonna respond? You waiting on me?
Did you want to respond to what he said?
Oh, okay. If you're getting rid of two of the trailers out of the
Getting
three?
at least rid of
Okay, if you get rid of two of the trailers, you would definitely you'll be in compliance because you'll be with one trailer and I'm quite, and you got enough land there, enough property there where you'll be 30 feet away from your property boundary. So you'll be within compliance if you get rid of two of those trailers.
That'll work.
All right, sir, how long would it take you to get rid of those other two trailers?
45 days.
They don't have wheels on them?
Yeah.
Do they have wheels?
Yeah, yes, they have wheels and they can be removed.
Then why would it take 45 days to roll them down the road?
They can go wherever.
How long would it take you to get them to somewhere? Okay, better.
He had requested 45 days to.
Yeah, I know he had requested 45. But
Yes.
you ready?
Yeah.
Go ahead, make a motion, please.
I move in case number CE 21009023 that based on the evidence presented, I find that the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in the staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, that I grant 45 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $200 per day be assessed.
Second, Durazio.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Let's get that.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. You have 45 days to remove them, sir. Next case.
Turn to page 9, number 17, case number CE 210000823. The owner is Rolando Hernandez Corrado, 15312 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. We have service, and someone is here for this case. Good morning. Will you both raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And I'll need both of your names and address for the record. And be sure to speak into the microphone. You can pull it down closer if you need to.
Hermín Hernández Corrado, 15132 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, Dover 33527.
His name. Are you here to translate for him?
Yes.
Okay.
Rolando Hernandez. The address is 15132 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Dover. And this is Dover, not Plain City.
Do you recognize the property in the
Yes,
photo up there?
yeah,
Okay,
that's
great.
the property that's I
Okay.
recognize, but that's
Thank
no
you.
the Plain City. That's Dover.
Thank you.
Officer Sweeney, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case came to me on January 21st, 2021. Property is zone ASC 1. It is tenant occupied, and the property is not in foreclosure. Upon my site visit, I found multiple conditions, violations of county ordinances on the property. As of my last site visit on November 12th, 2021, the remaining conditions are accumulations, outside open storage, and a fence zoning violation. As you see in this particular photo, that is a canopy carport being used to have storage of miscellaneous items underneath it, in which is not permissible in accordance to county codes. The black netting that they're using for the fence is not an approved material for fencing, so that will have to be removed. And then the miscellaneous accumulations of various items on the parcel will have to be removed, cleaned up, and removed from the parcel also.
Okay, Officer Sweeney, on that fence, it appears from here, there is a fence, and then there's like black plastic.
That's the unauthorized materials being used for fencing.
What about the fence?
The hog wire fence material is an approved material in the agricultural zoning.
So what I don't understand is he has a proper fence with an improper fence.
Yeah, the proper fence is not the issue. It's the black material being used as an additional fencing. That material is not approved fencing material and shall be removed.
Do we know it's fencing, or is it just a privacy issue? It doesn't seem to me, from what I can see from here, that plastic is going to stop cattle, dogs, cats, as if it were a fence.
I don't understand your reasoning on that, sir.
Okay, there is a fence.
There is a fence.
Okay. It's legal.
The wood fence does not extend. That little section of wood fencing on the left side of the photo,
Yes.
that's only a section of fence. That portion of the fence is not the issue. It's the black material that is being used for fencing on the existing hog wire fencing.
Okay. I still don't understand it, but
It's not an approved material for fencing.
Mr. Sweeney, I have a question. If the black material is on the inside of the graded material, then it's not considered fencing, but privacy then, correct? If you got the wire fencing on the outside, the plastic on the inside.
Okay, I'm not getting all your question there. The wire fencing is approved material.
Okay. If he moved the plastic material to the inside of the approved fencing, that's not considered fencing then?
Yes, sir, it would still be considered fencing, even though it's inside a approved fencing.
Okay.
I think they're wanting to know, is it fencing or is it a privacy screen?
Well, it can be used, they're probably using it as a privacy screen, but it's the way it's set up along the fence line, it's being used as a fence line. I'm not sure if that answers your question or not.
so the black fence makes it high enough to be a fence? Is that where we're at, or?
It's the material.
You're
It's not.
just saying he can't put that material up no matter if he's got 6 fences. If he had 6 regulation chain link fences across there, he could not put the plastic up. Is that what?
Correct. You're correct. That's not an approved material for fencing.
So can I try from a different angle here? If we remove the black fence vinyl material, is this condition in compliance?
Yes, once the material's been removed, then the fence that's existing, it would bring that portion of the condition in compliance.
And Mr. Sweeney, if the owner decided that he still wanted that amount of privacy, remove the black vinyl, but put up a solid fence such as the condition shown on the very left, would he also be in compliance?
Correct. If he wants privacy fencing, he would have to use wood fencing, chain link fencing with slats, or vinyl fencing, which are approved materials.
So the only issue here is that black vinyl roll is not
Correct.
a approved material in Hillsborough County.
Correct. That's the issue.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
So how many days would you need to come into compliance?
We already talked to the tenant like plenty times because this is going on since the beginning of this year. And we been talking to him about it to remove it. And he just keeps saying, where I'm gonna put it. I don't have no way to put it. And I asked my husband to ask him to vacate the property because, I mean, I don't see why he cannot just remove everything that he got outside the house. But I mean, if I get authorized, I can tell him to vacate because I actually want him to vacate the property.
Well, you're the owner of the property, so you're responsible for what your tenants do. So if they don't remove it upon your request, they cause you to be in violation of county ordinances, and you folks are the ones that will be subject to being fined per day for the violation. So the discretion here is on your part to either keep that tenant or remove that tenant.
Can I just go and remove it myself? Like, can I hire somebody to remove it?
That is up to you. We can't advise that information. You would have to seek legal advice to that point.
Gotcha. Okay. Then I guess I need some time to see.
That's what they're asking. How much time?
90 days to finish this.
Mr. Bordenero, did you get that?
We did get that. We were talking about asking a question. Mr. Sweeney, is there a life safety violation? Is there a concern with the 90 days?
No, there's no safety issues with this condition.
Okay, thank you.
I move in case number CE 210000823 that based on the evidence presented, I find that the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in the staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, that I grant 90 days to come into compliance, and if the compliance is not achieved, a fine of $300 per day be assessed.
Second, Lorenzen.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I oppose. Motion carries. You have 90 days, ma'am.
Just to clarify, the order that was 90 days and 300 per day, is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Next case.
I believe that is the last of the citizens who are here to testify. The rest of the cases do not have anyone here.
Okay, seeing as no one's present in the audience for the remainder of cases on the agenda, the board will now review the case materials previously provided by the county staff. If the board finds that the property is in violation of the Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in staff's presentation, the board's rulings in each case will be based on the evidence presented, gravity of the violation, action taken by the violator, violator's history, in determining the amount of fine that will be assessed. Next case.
Turn to page 1, number 1, case number CE 21003706. This case complied November 15, 2021. Page 2, number 3, CE 21003919. The owner is Miguel R. Rivera. Location 7905 Jackson Springs Road. We have service and no one is present.
Jose Reyes, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. I inspected the property at 7905 Jackson Springs Road on March 24th, 2001, on a complaint of a wrecked vehicle on the property. The violation was complied, but because of past violations of inoperable vehicles under case CE 2001-4830, I am requesting a remaining compliance order.
Question. Officer Reyes, can you just explain to me why it's taken 6 months, 7 months for us to come back to the board for an order to stay in compliance? Is there something else to this?
Well, a bunch of these cases due to COVID, I guess we're delayed.
Okay.
That's why.
Just cleaning
we're
up.
here.
Okay, thank you. Happy to make a motion. I find the property was in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances listed as presented. Further, I find the property is now in compliance with this code provision. Order that it remain in compliance with this code provision.
Second, Barrett.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next case.
Number 4, case number CE 21004261. The owner is Nubia Ruiz and Arias Emir. 12510 Four Oaks Road. We have service and no one is present.
Good morning. My name is Code Officer Hernandez. I work for Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. I responded to the property located at 12510 Four Oaks Road on March 31st due to a citizen's complaint for an occupied recreational vehicle. I inspected the property several times, of which contact was made with the owner. The data that I contacted the owner was 4/2 and 4/15/2021. He was informed of the requirements for a recreational vehicle, and that's the last time I had contact with the owner. Throughout my travels in that area, I've seen a female occupant, as the pictures will show, staying at the property, of which I approached and informed her of why the vehicle cannot be occupied, and requested for her to contact the owner and get back to me, and I've not heard from them since. Last time I inspected the property was actually this morning. I went by and the conditions still remain.
Okay,
I'm prepared to make a motion.
go ahead.
I move in case number CE 21004261 that I grant 30 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that time, a fine of $250 per day be assessed.
Second, Lorenzen.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next case.
Thank you.
Page 3, number 5, case number CE 21003580. This case was pulled per staff. Page 6, I'm sorry, number 6, CE 21003653. The owner is Teresa K. Little, 12702 Lovers Lane. We have service and no one is present.
Jason Zalva, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This property was first inspected on March 22nd, 2021. The violations of accumulations of excess lawn equipment, mower parts, junk, trash, debris were throughout the property. The entire property was also overgrown with grass, weeds in excess of 10 inches. Code enforcement had several complaints on property to include overgrowth. In 2012, there were several violations that had fines of over 23 grand. In 2018, complaint for accumulations. 2019, occupied RVs. 2020, two cases, one for in-out vehicles, one for overgrowth. Upon my most recent inspection on November 17th, the overgrowth had been cut and the accumulations were limited to a couple piles of dead tree debris. Although this property would be considered in compliance as of right now, due to the property history, we'd request to remain in compliance for the accumulations and overgrowth.
Board members?
Question, did you say is the overgrowth in compliance as well right now?
Can you please repeat that, sir?
Is the overgrowth in compliance right now?
As of right now, yes, sir, it is.
You want to do a remain?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a motion then. I find the property was in violation of Hillsborough County Code and Ordinance as presented. Further, I find the property is now in compliance with the code provision in order that it remain in compliance with this code provision.
Second by right.
For discussion,
Go ahead.
I think we still have an overgrowth issue. I think you have to do a day and a fine for PM 12.2. The accumulations have complied, but the overgrowth has not.
The overgrowth is complied. Most of the accumulations are complied with the exception of dead tree debris. It's just because of the history. We've been out there so many times and we've had fines on it in the past. That's why we're requesting to remain in compliance for the two violations of overgrowth and accumulations.
So the picture of the tree debris that you showed is gone?
No, that's still there. That's the last that was there as of 2 days ago, sir.
Okay, so how can we just do remain in compliance only and not force them to remove the remainder of the overgrowth?
I concur, but based on what he said, the overgrowth was in compliance. So, I mean, what do we do?
Understand. So it sounds like we still need some teeth, Officer Zalva, for him to complete the overgrowth issue. So just to do remain in compliance in both of these items would not be sufficient, correct?
Correct. And let me just say, sir, this problem is known to have frequent flyers for vagrants that would keep going back, constantly bring back accumulations. So within so many months, we'll be back there again for another complaint of accumulations and possibly overgrowth. This is why we requested this to continue to go forward for the remaining compliance, sir.
But we still have to deal with the overgrowth, or we still have to deal with the accumulations. There's a tree down, we can see it. Are we not dealing with that? It doesn't show in compliance on our agenda.
So we're looking for a two-part motion to do remain in compliance and to have a date and fine for the overgrowth, or? Hello?
This is Carmine Pisano. What happened, according to I can get from Officer Zalva, is he had gone and complied these issues and did not update the PowerPoints from the date we reviewed them. So what you're looking at, it has been complied, and because of the nature of and the history of the property, we're just looking for remaining compliance for the accumulations and overgrowth.
Thank you, sir. Okay. It's been so long. Somebody did a motion. Okay, you made a motion, you.
That's right, seconded.
That's right, seconded. All in favor of the remaining compliance? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. They're ordered to remain in compliance. Next case, please.
Turn to page 4, number 7, CE 21007875. The owner is 2018-2 IH Borrower LP. Location 10506 Giuliano Drive. We have service and no one is present.
Officer Jason Zalva, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. I first inspected this property on June 5th, 2021. At the request of the neighbor who lived behind this property on Copperhead Drive, I observed the fence that bordered these two properties. It was dilapidated, had not been maintained in a workmanlike manner. The complainant had contacted the owners, Invitation Homes for rent, and even offered to go and have to install a new vinyl fence. According to the complainant, they told her they would not do anything until first cited by code enforcement. At that point, I requested a 15-day notice of violation. On June 28th, I returned to observe that no repairs had been made, and I referred it to hearing. On November 17th, I returned and met with the complainant. I observed the fence had not been repaired. The complainant stated the Invitation Homes sent out one worker who repaired a small section at the other end, but then that was not in that bad a shape and left after a short time and did not fix the rest. It should be noted that she would be happy to put up a fence if they would just take down the old fence, but she cannot touch it because it's on theirs. At this point in time, I've had no contact with Invitation Homes for rent regarding this case.
Okay, so you're saying that the fence that's there is not in compliance?
Correct. The fence is Invitation Homes for rent.
All the neighbor wants is for them to remove that fence or repair it.
That's it, sir.
Okay. Members of the board.
Happy to make a motion.
Go ahead, Mr. Lorenzen.
You have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm just looking at the picture, the fence doesn't look like it's dilapidated to the point that I would think of replacement, but that's just me from my construction side.
It's not maintained in a workmanlike manner. Screws are sticking through. There's a lot of gaps in the fence, missing slats.
Boy, everybody in Hillsborough County should be cited then.
Cite them.
Okay, happy to make a motion.
Yes.
I move in KC 21007875. I grant 21 days to come into compliance, and compliance not achieved by that date, a fine of $250 per day be assessed.
21 days, $250. Do we have a second?
Second, D'Orazio.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We have Mr. Vasilla opposing. Motion carries. Next case, please.
Number 8, CE 21008399. This case complied November 10, 2021. Number 9, CE 21010243. The owner is Pedro Diaz. Location 3112 West LAMBRIGHT Street. We have service and no one is present.
Good morning.
Morning.
John Kieran, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. May it please the board. Property in question is located at 3112 West LAMBRIGHT Street, Tampa, Florida 33614. Property is owned by Pedro Diaz. Property is currently owner occupied and is not in foreclosure. Initial inspection was performed July 22nd, 2021, which revealed 2 violations, of which one has since achieved compliance. A pre-hearing inspection was performed November 10th, 2021. Photographs were taken at that time for this hearing. Board members, I'm compelled to say that I was there yesterday. I did not observe the commercial vehicle there at that time. Carmen, do we have the PowerPoint up? The PowerPoint? However, due to the close proximity to the hearing, as well as, if I could just direct your attention towards slide 3 and 4, we have reason to believe that there's a connection between the actual commercial vehicle and the property, since the business is registered to the property. Therefore, we believe that the vehicle may be being returned to the property after duty hours. Beyond that, I have no further testimony. Should the board have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Members of the board, any questions? Okay.
I'm prepared to make a motion.
Go ahead.
In case number 21010243, I grant 10 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, an amount of $250 a day be assessed.
Second, Lorenzen.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. What we'll do next is we will go to Mr. Vasilla, then we will go to Mr. Lorenzen, Ms. Wright, and we'll jump back over. Okay? Next case, please.
Turn to page 5, number 10, CE 21010343. This case complied November 10, 2021. Number 11, CE 21008620. This case complied November 17, 2021. Page 7, number 14, CE 21009568. This case was pulled per staff. Page 8, number 15, case number CE 20018405. The owner is the estate of L.E. Martin, location 3007 North Wilder Road. We have service and no one is present.
Officer Sweeney, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This property came to Hillsborough County in a complaint on December 17th, 2020. I made a site visit and met with the owner of the property, advised of the complaint that was rendered on his property. I found multiple conditions in which I cited him for. However, upon my last visit on 11/12/2021, all the conditions were abated and come in compliance except for the windows that are still missing in the northern part of the mobile home. I spoke with Mr. Martin that day and advised to get these windows repaired, fixed, and we could close the case. But at this point in time, the condition still exists.
Questions from the board?
Mr. Sweeney, you say that it is occupied by the owner?
Yes, the unit is occupied by the owner.
It's your turn.
Did he give you any time limit as when he will have the outstanding violation corrected?
No, sir. The windows were repaired, but the windows for some reason got broke again. Part of the window is sitting on the ground, or the broken glass is sitting on the ground below the window. He didn't give me a time frame. He just said he'll get it fixed.
One more question, Mr. Sweeney. How much time would you give him personally?
For replacing this window and due to the age of this case, I'd give him 7 days.
12 hours.
14 days to come in compliance, fine, $200 per day.
Do we have a second?
Second, Lorenzen.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next case.
Number 16, CE 20018582. This case complied November 9, 2021. Page 9, number 18, case number CE 21003191. The owner is the Betty Kurtz Life Estate and Davina Vanderlyke, location 301 West Johnson Road. We have service and no one is present.
Officer Sweeney, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case came to me on March 11th, 2021. The property is zone ASE 1. Property is occupied by the owner's daughter, Miss Vanderlyke, and the property is not in foreclosure. The several conditions were written up on this case on the day of my site visit. At this time, accumulations and overgrowth are the only two conditions that remain. The areas in front of the home and the area under the carport has been cleaned and the conditions abated since yesterday. The overgrowth and accumulations in the rear part of the property are still existing. I spoke with Ms. Vanderlyke yesterday concerning the issue, and she said if she had another 7 days, she would be able to get the rest of the cleanup taken care of. And that's where we left it at yesterday.
Okay, board members?
One question, Mr. Sweeney, you show one item is outside open storage. Is that complied or not?
That's complied. That was under the carport area.
So that's complied as of 11/12.
I did not understand that last.
That was complied as the November 12th?
The outside open storage part,
Yes.
that was complied yesterday.
That's 11/18. Okay, thank you.
I move in case CE 21003191, I grant 21 days to come into compliance for items PM 12.1 accumulations and PM 12.2 overgrowth. Compliance now achieved by that date, a fine of $150 per day be assessed.
Second by right.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next case, please.
Turn to page 10, number 19, CE 210081112. The owner is Charles Adams. Location 3804 North 58th Street. We have service and no one is present.
Do we mean no one like the officer too, or?
Just one moment.
Okay.
Good morning. I'm Arnold Gutierrez, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case here was originally inspected on June 9th, 2021. As of today, we have the same violations on the windows and exterior doors. It is still the same way. It has not been complied.
Okay. Members of the board.
Have you made any contact with the owner?
Pardon me? I have not made contact with the owner. I've conducted quite a few site visits and I have never got in contact with anyone. It is owner occupied. This case is also, there's another case with fines running at this location.
Okay, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Go ahead.
In case number CE 210081112, I grant 15 days to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $300 per day be assessed.
That was 300. Okay. 300. All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Mr. Vasilla opposes. Motion carries. Next case, please.
Could you restate that motion?
It was 15 days. Fine was 300.
Thank you. Next case is number 20, case number CE 2100-8507. The owner is Michelle D'Souza Lewis, 3812 North 58th Street. We have service. I'm sorry, we do not have service. We do not have service, so this case is pulled for lack of service. Page 11, number 21, CE 2100-9111. This case complied November 10, 2021. Number 22, CE 2100-9114. This case complied November 17, 2021. Number 23, CE 2100-9205. This case complied November 10, 2021. Page 12, number 24, CE 2100-9683. The owner is Susan Cagle and Terry Cagle, 4217 King Alfred Drive. We have service and no one is present.
Good morning.
Morning.
Armando Gutierrez, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case here was originally inspected in July of 2021. I've done quite a few site visits on this particular property. For the first time, I met the owner actually this week. The accumulation still exists. The lady, the owner, is wheelchair bound. She has severe skin disease and she really has no help. When I spoke to her, I finally met not only her, but her daughter and one of her sons. And they claim that they will get the accumulations picked up by this week, which is today.
Okay, members of the board.
I didn't quite understand that. So it is still not in compliance?
It has not been complied, no, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I'm prepared to make a motion. And I grant $30 to come into compliance, and if compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $250 a day be assessed.
Do we have a second?
Second by Pizzello.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next case.
Number 25, CE 2100-9805. This case is pulled for lack of service. And that concludes the agenda.
Okay, staff, I think you wanted to say something?
Yes, we would like to wish Morgan best of luck in the future. This will be her last day with Citizen Board Support, and she is going to code enforcement.
Okay, we're going to deny her being able to leave. No, congratulations. And I believe it's somebody's birthday.
It is Sonia's birthday as well.
Okay.
Happy birthday, Sonia.
All right, we are adjourned.
Hey, Sonia, are you able to drink now?
What did he say? I don't think we got that.
Hey, Sonia, are you old enough to drink now?